thirsty, man. Look at Sara, man. This woman is thirsty, man. Yeah, she's just like, oh yeah, I wanna do it. Let's go together. She's so goddamn thirsty. It's because like a real date, right? Yeah, Sara gets a real date. She really wants to sleep with him. I just can't even see. She's standing there like bored, like she's like, she's standing there with her katana, you know, being like, oh yeah, you want some? It's so upset. She's standing there with the katana pointing at him like, yeah, you're horny. Like, it's the thirstiest anime scene ever. Ask him to go to the bedroom because she want to sharpen that katana. Right? Of course, she can't get excited. I mean, I just can't finish anime. I love it so much. But seriously, this is getting cancelled, man. You see Sara, like, she's like, she's going on that katana like crazy, you know? She's like, yeah, katanas. Takes it to the bedroom and they can't get excited for it. And then, I mean, this is like the thirstiest anime girl ever, and she can't get laid. I mean, it's insane. And then it goes for, I mean, yeah, let's talk about it. Okay, we gotta, you guys better subscribe, seriously, because I had to rewatch this episode now, you know, because at first I watched episode 1, you know, I watched it first, right, with my Roxy, whatever, right, you know, we read this and so on. And generally, guys, you gotta subscribe, guys, because I almost died over this, because, you know, I'm laughing so much, I'm having to rewatch it to review it. It's so funny! It is so funny! I'm just like crying. I'm genuinely like laughing so much that I can't breathe, you know. It is so funny. This is like, I think again, this is the funniest episode I've seen in anime this year. This anime is supposed to be a comedy, right? I mean, of course it has comedic scenes in it, but like when he can't get excited, right? It's just like, it's sort of a weird scene too, because, but honestly, this is why Mushoku is the best anime ever, right? Because it's sort of a different anime. You can't imagine having an anime where the main character can't get, you know, hard, right? You know, can't get the stuff up, right? That is a thing happens, of course, in real life. Never happened to me, of course, but I mean, so what people. But you know what I mean? It actually genuinely has never happened to me. You're so pony dog. I'm also Rudy. I got my Waifu. No, but seriously, it has never happened to me. I keep saying it. No, but it's just such an extreme scene, right? And as I admit, it's why I love this anime so much in general, because this is the only anime where the author is willing to have this kind of scene, right? Where the actual character can't get, you know, up. So that itself is really, really good. But it also makes it funny because it's just so out of the, or, you know, it's so unexpected, right? Yeah, I could never expect the author to want to go in that route, right? So that's why it's sad, but also to me, when it's happening, it's hilarious. Because I'm just like, what? Seriously? This is happening in an anime? I mean, I am more expecting an R scene, right? I'm expecting, like, a demon jumping in and, like, taking Sara and, you know, like, forcing her to, you know, I don't know, eat, like, 500 tentacles or whatever, you know, in all her holes right there. That, to me, is more expected than the main character not getting excited in an anime, like, seriously. Because I feel like, you know, let's be honest here, I feel like half the anime cast, right? Men, female, trans, whatever, yeah, they're all super horny all the time. That's how most animes are. You're like, what? So it is an amazing, unexpected scene, right? Which only Mushoku can do. But also, it gets comedically hilarious, because, you know, it's just so absurd. He can do it, and she is a tsundere, right? I think it's so funny too, because normally, some people dislike tsunderes, right? Because tsunderes are angry and they punch the guy or whatever, and you know what I mean. But in this scene, it makes so much sense, because this is actually probably, honestly, this is probably the this is probably the greatest tsundere scene of all time. Actually, the most realistic tsundere scene of all time. Because, of course, in her mind, she's blaming herself, right? Now, this is Rudy's fault, but obviously Sara is just like, oh my god, I was, like I said in the opening here, in the intro, she is the thirstiest woman I've ever seen in anime. You know, she's standing there with the katana like, oh, you wanna do it? Yeah, fucking do it. She's like standing there basically like hardcore, you know, this is time to get a hentai on, you know. She's standing there, right? She's so incredibly into doing it with him, right? She's like, let's do it! Yeah, she's like a goddamn hentai character, to the extreme. Incredibly horny. And still, she fails, right? So it really is, like, honestly, probably the greatest tsundere scene of our time, because, in that sense, right? Because it actually makes sense that she would be really angry, because, of course, if it happens to a woman in real life, you know, she's gonna blame herself, right, you know? Especially if it's the first time, right? You know what I mean? Like, I don't mean the first time as in virgin, I mean first time as in with a guy. I mean, regard, I suppose, but I mean, even if you're not, you know, a D, so to speak, but if you know, go on a one-night stand with a guy, right, and he can't get excited, yeah, you're gonna blame yourself, even if you have done it before, you know what I mean? So even if you're not a V, or she might be, honestly, that's how I also present that. So it's even worse if you've never done it before. If it's her first time, then it's even worse, of course. But even if it isn't her first time, it still is like, oh, it's my fault, right? Because this guy has nothing with another woman, but he can't get it with me. It's my fault, right? She's blaming herself. So her then being all Tsundere and hating and saying, you're the worst, psycho, yeah, freaking bitch, yeah, that makes sense, right? That she hates him, right? That honestly is probably the most like genuine Tsundere scene of all time, because yeah, a woman, he can't get excited for her, so she smacks him or she slaps him after he insults her when he's drunk. I mean, honestly, is again, I keep saying it, probably the most realistic Tsundere scene of all time, because every other Tsundere scene in anime, I mean, some of them are more realistic, some are not realistic, but yeah, this is actually a thing that happens to women in real life, right? And if it's like one night stand the first time, yeah, they obviously gonna blame themselves. They're not gonna blame the guy for it, right? Then of course, if you're married or whatever, right, and your husband start having these issues, if you can't get excited after a few years of marriage, then you also will still probably blame yourself, but at least lesser extent, because he has issues and maybe his health or But in this case, when you're like, oh, it's our first date, and then we go home together and we're gonna sleep together, and you can't get him excited. Obviously, the woman will take the blame for it. I mean, in her mind at least, right? Regardless. That being said, to be fair, I'll say it before I go into Turning the Brothel. To be fair though, I do blame her a little bit. I mean, I don't say it as a joke. I mean, to be fair, no, of course, the woman coming to Tsundere, the redhead, she couldn't get it up either. But still though, we're gonna see Elf coming next episode, right? Yeah, Elf lady. But seriously though, Rudy's very young. I know it's mental, but honestly, I want to be a little bit mean to her, to the Tsundere-chan, but she also did the whole fish, right? Whatever it's called, död fisk in Swedish. When the woman just lays there, she's lays in the bed, and the guys do everything, you know what I mean? And he has to, be on top and do, you know what I mean? Rudy had to do all the work, so to speak, right? She was just like, yeah, she was incredibly thirsty, but when they actually got to the bedroom, she was just like, she was playing dead fish, right? Yeah, dead fish. And so I will say that I have to blame her too, though, honestly. I'm trying to be, but really, yeah, because, I mean, if she was way more aggressive about it, in the whole way, not just until the bedroom, but if she was like, oh, let me get up there, you know what I mean? If she was doing that, then I think it would be different, honestly, right? In real life, it probably would have been, because Rudy's very young. Yeah, he's like, he's a young man, so he probably would get excited if she's really worked for it. But I think it really is because it's her first time, probably, right? She's just like lying there, like a man has to do everything. And yeah, but interesting if she actually kept being so incredibly thirsty inside the bedroom too. If it still was, not functioning. But instead she used. That being said, though, again, she's a realistic character. Don't get me wrong, she's realistic, right? Because if it's her first time or she's very inexperienced, yeah, she's probably just like, well, you do everything, man. Yeah, she's like dead fish strategy. So to some extent, you have to say it's her. I would say honestly a little bit her fault. I think I'm being pragmatic here, but yeah, if the woman does nothing in the bedroom, okay, yeah, you know what I mean, yeah. So people say, yeah, but come on, man, if the woman just does absolutely nothing, I don't know, she could have done something. She just gave up immediately, yeah. But again, it's probably her first time, so I mean, it logically it makes sense, though. I mean, I'm saying, It also goes to a brothel. I mean, this anime is getting cancelled. This anime is getting cancelled, man. The main character goes to a goddamn funhouse. It seems like this anime, I mean, already, and I want to put out there, this anime is already cancelled, okay? I said it before, right? But in China, right, Bilibili and so on, this anime actually literally got cancelled in China. At least temporary. I haven't checked out the latest this year or whatever, but it was banned in China for a while. So this anime is actually genuinely being cancelled. I'm also saying that to be like hyperbolic. I mean, genuinely cancelled. And, I had stocks in Bilibili, right? I don't have it anymore, but I used to have a lot of stocks in Bilibili. And I lost like a couple of $1,000. Yeah, I lost money in that because the stock fell like 20% or so. So I thought about it on the video, but straight up, yeah, like this anime is actually cancelled in China. It was temporarily. And because Bilibili also is the one hosting the different games in China, so they had a potential like mobile game and so on, that also got banned, like literally again, cancelled, actually got cancelled. I'm also saying, I mean, literally got cancelled, and that also meant then, of course, that they had lost a lot of revenue. So that actually was like a big deal that happened in 2021 then, yeah. But all being said though, I bought Bilibili shares in 2020, of course, during Corona, and then I sold it when it started falling. With this anime, so I still made a profit, but it was kind of crazy because yeah, it actually was literally the reason I sold those shares, because it kept making the stock fall. I had to like get out now. The top I felt or closer to top. But anyway, so this in here again, this anime is crazy. How many animes do you have the main character actually go into a funny lady house? Yeah, like this is seriously like, think about it. So if you don't know the backstory, and I mean it genuinely, this anime, what I'm saying is factually true. Like this actually got cancelled right, in China, and tried to. And who did it, of course, was feminist. But it's a Chinese feminist organization. Now I don't remember the title of their organization, but whatever you call it for. And they've been trying, right, other so to speak, people in other countries too, right? So having the main character go to a fun house, yeah, I could see this anime actually genuinely getting cancelled. Remember that in-specific reviewers also got cancelled, right? They had it on Funimation and so on, and that got removed after episode 3 or something. So I wouldn't think it's impossible to have Funimation now then, they bought Crunchyroll, right? Because Funimation was Sony, they bought Crunchyroll, and we already see how this anime, Crunchyroll refused to have it, right, in, what's it called? The shitty award, right? The terrible award they have. They refuse to have the anime, right, in categories. They didn't make any sense, and they rearranged it and all the dumb stuff, right? Because they, one reason was because they didn't own the rights for it, right? Crunchyroll always avoids anime they don't own. Always, as best as they can, but of course now they own it back again then because Funimation bought them. So we'll see next award, I suppose, but still they always try to censor this anime or something. You know what I mean? So I could see it, as Funimation now owns Crunchyroll, I could genuinely see them removing this anime. I could see it happening if this episode has big enough of backlash. Like I said, right, it already happened in China. Why couldn't it happen in America and happen with other animes in the past, right? On Funimation, Crunchyroll. So why not? And this scene here is like, even though it's not very sexual, I mean, she takes off her clothing and we see her like underwear. So I mean, it's not like sexual. Yeah, we see her like panties, or whatever. Yeah, it's genuinely not very revealing, right? And actually, honestly, her take off her like her first layer of clothing. She has quite non-revealing clothing actually. Yeah, she's a kind of a garter. I don't know. Yeah, so. Honestly, not very, visually bad, so to speak. But clearly the storyline is going to make people on Twitter or whatever go crazy. So I can see people trying to cancel this anime, genuinely. And it also might happen, honestly. That being said, the anime is very popular, and it's a big seller, right? So I have a hard time seeing Crunchyroll/Funimation doing it for this reason. But I don't think it's impossible. I really don't think it's possible. Like I keep saying, it really happened in some countries. And it happened with other animes, right, on the same, in America and so on. So I don't see why this anime, in the end, would actually not happen to this anime. Except popularity. For example, in-specific reviewers was kind of popular when it started airing, but it was obviously not remotely similar to this anime, which is very popular. So I guess its popularity is the only thing guarding it. So generally, if this anime was way less popular, if it had like 10, if you divided its views by 10, right? I don't know how much views Crunchyroll or whatever gets every episode for this anime, but let's say it's 1 million views, right? Yeah, if you divide that by 10, it was 100k, whatever it is, yeah, then they probably actually would have canceled the anime. I think so, generally speaking, yeah. I don't think they would have it because they personally hate it too. You have to think about the combination here. This anime always has people trying to cancel it, and they also hate it, right? The actual people running this site also hate it. They personally hate it. So, I mean, the double combination of that, I could really see it being like they want to cancel it. So, it is interesting. It's interesting. We'll see what happens. I might make an after video. But, I mean, I've already seen tweets. I've already seen people talking on Reddit, right? Social media, YouTube. I've already seen people, trying to cancel it. Of course, expected, right? Been out for like an hour's episode. I've already seen 50 tweets saying cancel it. All from me! I was like, yeah. It's on my accounts. I'm like, I'm just like, cancel it now. So I can be right here. No, but I can definitely see it happening. This episode is clearly way more controversial than last episode. And I really do think that this episode, from a pragmatic example, it is controversial, right? It's a controversial anime. The anime is very controversial, and obviously having the main character going to get laid at a funhouse is obviously not something you see very often in anime. Even if some other has similar things to it, it's obviously up there. And yeah, in specific reviewers, that was cancelled, right? That was the main plot of that. They went to brothels. That's the main plot of that anime. So they got cancelled. That being said, though, it also obviously was more visual. But the anime was kind of funny because it was visual. But you know what I mean? They never was really visual. Yeah, it was kind of like this thing. They were like, oh yeah, let's do it, And that was some weird, stupid thing. But of course, they had some scenes of visual, and the ending though, the anime was just crazy. The ending is like ever on riding. Yeah, the ending of that anime though is very, very not safe for work. But the actual episodes, most of them weren't actually. It depends on what episode it was. Some of them are definitely more. I think episode 3 is the worst one, when they have the Genderbender. Yeah, and Hyena is there. That one is probably the more visual, because it's like a slime girl with the elf guy. Or he's a woman then. So the elf guy becomes an elf woman, and does like a slime girl. That scene is really, really visual. So there's some, there's up and down, where some episode was crazy visual, but most of them were kind of like this, right, you know? When the guys went to a house, met like a dark elf, you know, and she's like, oh, you like the chocolate ladies? He's like, yeah, chocolate ladies, you know, and then it's censored. So yeah, or you know, nothing is shown. So let's see what happens. But I genuinely think this anime might. I mean, seriously, like I said, it's already been cancelled in some countries, and this episode definitely not gonna help, because I haven't checked out the current status. I believe it got reinstated in some countries, right? Like China and so on, eventually. So let's see if it gets cancelled again. But yeah, like I keep saying, it has actually been cancelled in the past. And also, go back to the earlier, Sara being so thirsty too, also doesn't help, right? Because while guys are always super thirsty and horny in anime, right? But as soon as a woman is it, which of course I think is kind of hilariously hypocritical, right? Because if you think about it, I think it's kind of funny, because people on in Twitter or whatever, right? They hate when the guys are super thirsty or whatever. Oh, men are primitive. But when Sara isn't creepy, but she's just very, very into it, right? She's like, oh, you want dagger? You want my sword, you know? You know, they're gonna hate it, right? And I think it's kind of funny, because obviously these people should like that, right? They should like that a woman has urgency, a woman wants it, but they're gonna, you know, critique and blame on it, which of course is hilarious. But they're gonna, I mean, it's hypocritically hilarious, but that's what happened too, right? So the Sara scenes are also gonna make people pissed off, absolutely, even if it shouldn't, because the same people there are gonna say that women are just objects in anime, they have no personality, they have no willpower, but she clearly wants him. So again, Aries, just like the Aries scene, Rudy is the one that the women are actually after. But I guess I can see why people hate the anime though, because they hate Rudy, so they're having now 2 women trying to seduce him, of course, or one failing them. But yeah, yeah, I guess it gets pissed off, I suppose so. But anyway, guys, if you subscribe, hit the like button, share the reaction support, which I just laugh so much. Yeah, so you guys have a great day.